Welcome to the Talking Galloway podcast.
I'm Angela from Galloway Retold.
And I'm Andy from Stravaiging with Andy.
Our guest today is Abi Mordin, who is a local market gardener and food activist who is involved with Lochhill Agroecological Farm, Galloway Food Hub and Glenkens Food Month, among a whole host of other things. I've had the pleasure of hosting some of her events at the library in Dalry, and I'm really looking forward to speaking to her today. Andy, what have you been up to since last time we were filming then?
The usual, lots of editing, and I've been getting out, doing some more recording, making my way a bit further west. Well, I've made a mess. Last time we talked about going out to the Murray's Monument.
Yep.
I also have been out to Dunkitterick, where his birthplace.
Yep.
It's just a wee 20-minuter, so I'll try and get those two out back to back. And trying to edit that together, plus obviously the previous podcast.
Yep.
I've also gone down to Croftree, kind of inspired by our last episode where we were talking to Bob and he was talking about Croftree. I didn't go down to the visitor centre, I just went to the north. Recorded a wee walk around there.
It's a nice place to walk.
It's a nice place to walk, and even when you're kind of keeping an eye out for the mountain bikers and things like that might be blasting across some of the routes.
Yeah, they can suddenly just appear out of nowhere and suddenly, it's the same at Lochhill as well, actually.
Trying to explain that on my videos. And so, I went up, walked around Lochhill. It's partially the white route on the north end of the... But my camera had got a firmware update and I'd missed it reset some of the settings. So I'm not actually sure how usable that's going to be.
Yeah, that's a problem. Like I was telling you about this earlier, but it's the remember before you go out to do all the firmware stuff like the night before, because we quite often turn up and we still haven't learned to a place and we're like, right, okay, drone, get the drone out, and it's like, would you like to download an upgrade? No, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I do not. I've got no internet capability at all. It's going to take 6 years, and I want to do my flying right now. Thanks. But the good thing about the drone actually is it seems to be quite happy just to let you do it without the firmware update.
No.
So you can keep doing it. But then the other thing about remembering to do it the night before is if it throws you a curveball like that, then
like resetting all your settings. It might have happened very early on when I first started using it, but that had not happened for quite a long time. And it's had updates, but it hadn't reset everything.
Yeah, that's never good.
So, it was suboptimal.
Yeah, suboptimal is a good way of putting it.
But, live and learn.
Yeah, you live and learn, and you've had a nice walk at Croftree.
And started figuring out the routes around there. I don't think I've ever actually walked around Croftree. I used to be, biking was my first main primary form of exercise and transport. And I've cycled across Galloway before and been down many of the mountain bike routes, which obviously Croftree, Salnottree, all part of the Seven Stains, which we'll actually briefly touch upon in the episode as well today. Only very briefly though. So it was actually just walking around there and actually stopping and seeing stuff. It is mostly forestry. I did try kind of exploring some of the off the main route stuff to see if I could find one. I ended up walking down an unmarked mountain bike trail. Possibly not going to release that because probably not wise to walk down a mountain bike trail, even if it is an unmarked one, because they come down fast. Yeah, and if you're filming, you're not paying attention in the same way as you would be if you weren't filming. Yeah, totally. And that's a risk. And what about yourself?
Well, weather. It has been. I mean, we had Storm Dave and everything. The weather is supposed to get better, so hopefully before this comes out, I will actually have something starting to come together, but we'll have to see. I have basically been doing a lot of writing and stuff. That's really where I've been at. My most recent story for the distillery, I did that the other day, and I found myself back at an old project, so there's been a lot of that, but yeah, the weather has been not friendly towards us. It's a bit frustrating, but we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there.
So speaking of the weather, kind of one of the main updates I've got is the fact that there's been a lot of rain and some of the routes are not in the greatest conditions just because it's thick mud.
The ground's come unfrozen from the winter as well, so there's all that water that was in the soil.
But yeah, it's still basically wellies or boots and gaiters season. As I believe people up in north of the USA and Canada would call this mud season, and possibly Eastern Europe as well.
Yeah. I think in France it's the Mistral season, in fact, which is winds and rains. So yeah,
there's just basically mud everywhere. But you know, don't let that stop you getting out. Just go prepared.
Wellies or hiking boots.
Hiking boots and gaiters. Otherwise, I don't really have too many updates to say. Like that, the worst bit specifically around here, for me, I've seen is the other side of Waterside, part of the Southern Upland Way, just before you go through the deer fence. It's like that, just before the boardwalk there.
Into the Gareth Glen. That gets bad. That does get bad. I'm sure it's the same in paths all
various
over
places.
Totally.
Unless it's hardcore down, then it's
that's it.
even that wee bit just by, is it Craig Gubble Cottage, the one just opposite Earlson Power Station?
I think so.
And it's getting a bit slippery in there. So
watch yourself underfoot whilst out walking wherever you are in Galloway.
Speaking of walking, and there is, and as mentioned in our conversation with Bob in the last episode, there is the Newton Stewart Walking Festival coming up, which will be going from the 8th to the 14th of May. And you can find more information about that on the website, which is walkfestnewtonstewart.com.
They usually have some pretty good walks. As Bob was saying, I mean, they're led walks, they're guided walks by people that know what they're doing, so it's definitely worth it. And transport, which is a very good thing.
The 23rd of May is the anniversary of the Blue Peter Spitfire crash, AD 540. I think Bob's going to try and get up there. I'm going to try and look to get up there for the Memorial Day as well. Weather dependent.
You have to bring us some pictures though.
I'll definitely get some pictures and
some footage.
I'll share them on our Facebook page.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. That's a good idea.
I mean, I also have an Instagram page as well. Again, Talking Galloway podcast. Give us a follow over there. It's very new. Don't have many followers so far.
True, and we'll get pictures in there.
That will be doing that. In the latest edition of the Glenkens Gazette, Paul Goodwin's done a 20 places to go, see, do kind of list. We'll actually be talking to Paul later in the year. So
he's quite interesting.
Very much so. But you can find that in Dalry Library or Catstrand.
Or the shop if they've got any left, which they probably haven't, because they go really quick in the shop.
But you can also find it online at the glenkens.scot /gazette-home. And that will have the latest copy that you can just read online as well. I believe it's got the whole thing on there. And I generally pick up from the library when I
I also try to get them down to the library in Castle Douglas, so if you are looking for a Glenkens Gazette, try there if you're in Castle Douglas area.
Nice one. Speaking of walking off-road and things like that, this is the time of year where you do need to be really careful. It's lambing and calving season. It's joyous going along, seeing the lambs springing around in the fields
and sproinging.
And just having a lovely old springtime in the fields.
That's it.
But if you're out walking, especially if you've got a dog with you, just try and avoid going through the fields. If you do have to go through the field, leave the gates as you find them. Try and avoid the sheep and the cows.
Keep the dog on the lead. And in Scotland, we have the right to roam, but that is reliant on people respecting
And if you're unsure of the rules, go check out the Scottish Outdoor Access Code. We will include a link in the description.
Yeah.
But it is so vital that in order for us to be able to carry on having the access we do, we need to respect the land and the people who are actually working the land.
Yeah.
We're getting very close to midgie season, and I'm worried with the amount of rain there's been and the amount of standing water around the place right now.
Yeah, it could be quite the midgie season.
This could be a rough one.
Yeah, it could be a bad one. If you want to see what midges are like and you're from out of the region, I have a couple of little videos on my channel, which are called Nope. You check them out, you'll see why we don't like midges.
They're worth a little, just for a little giggle and see responses, reactions even.
Yeah, but really...
Nope,
I can't do this. No, honestly, midges can drive you absolutely mad. They may not carry diseases like mosquitoes, but they are absolutely the bane of the Scottish countryside in the summer. What you need is a sunny, slightly breezy day. Everything's fine. But when it rains...
Unfortunately, around the Glenkens itself is not the worst. I think in Galloway the worst spot is, or at least used to be, and I remember this from when I did my Duke of Edinburgh, was down at Glentroll. Oh,
Glentroll's really bad. The Raiders Road is horrific as well.
I managed to avoid mid-season on the Raiders Road.
When the Olympic Torch was going through the region for the London Olympics, the Catstrand choir was invited to help with the singing along the route. And for whatever reason, it was decided that we would go up to the otter pool.
Oh, beautiful spot.
Beautiful spot. Absolutely gorgeous spot. When you sing, you have to do like opening your mouth. And when you can't open your mouth without an entire like legion of midges flying into it, you can't really sing. You really can't sing. And so we moved to New Galloway Park to do our singing, which was a long way away from the route that the torch was going, but it was also a long, long way away from all the midges, because the midges are just horrible. Yeah.
That's a meal in itself right there.
A whole choir.
Basically, as you saw, I didn't have too many actual core path updates themselves. If you are aware of any issues or any recent fixes or any new paths that are opening up, please let us know so we can share it on future episodes. You can do so by emailing us at talkinggallowaypodcast@protonmail.com. We're also going to do, each month, we're going to do a floated post on our Facebook page where we're going to do one for the concerning core paths and cultural gleanings.
Yep.
And if there's any events or any news on core paths that you wish us to share, please go in and comment on those and we will make sure to include them. If we try and record in the middle of the month just to give us time to edit because it is taking us a bit of time still.
Yeah.
So if you let us know by then in the middle of the month, then we will try and include it in future episodes.
Yeah. We'll pin those posts at the top of our page. I'm going to start with Restoring Elspeth. Can you grab that just so I can flash it at the cameras here? So Restoring Elspeth here is a book that has came out last year, but written by Ros Olin, who she contacted me a good few years ago now, just not long after the end of the sort of COVID thing, to ask some questions because I'd done some videos on Elspeth and kind of taken it from there. I've known her for a while now. But this book of poetry here, it's an interesting read. It's a different kind of perspective on it. It's a different way of perhaps investigating what happened to Elspeth, but it's also got quite a nice section at the back, which basically it's all of her sources explaining where she's gotten them from and everything. She's going to be doing a talk on the 31st of May at the Catstrand about the book. Elspeth, I should have said this already, but Elspeth was the last woman executed for witchcraft in Galloway, and it was actually really late on. Most of the executions had well stopped by then, and she was executed at Silver Crags in Kirkcudbright. Ros discovered Elspeth's story when she was visiting Kirkcudbright, the Tolbooth at Kirkcudbright, and she was inspired to write the poems from that experience, because when you actually look at the place and the conditions that Elspeth was kept in, it was, you know, it makes you think, and just how horrible an experience it was, and how horrible a thing it was for people to do to other people on the basis of what was just hearsay and nonsense. The talk will take place at the Catstrand. It's at 3 o'clock on the 31st of May. I'd love to go along, but I'd love to go along myself, and maybe you would like to go, but you might not be able to make it, but that's okay, because we are actually going to be talking to Ros, and so that might well be out in July. Okay. Might well be out in July. So that should be interesting for you if you are interested in the story of the witches.
Is this the book that you've got pictures in?
Yeah, I've got a picture in it. It's just a picture looking down to Dalry from the Mullach in the story about the Bloody Bray, which is a very, supposedly the horse started sweating blood as they tried to climb it. And yeah, anyway. Right. Speaking of Elspeth as well, Ros has been working with the kids of the local schools, and they will be also holding their response to the story of Elspeth at the Catstrand. That's taking place on Wednesday the 6th of May at 6:30. And so the children of our local schools responding to the story of Elspeth McEwen, and learning a little bit about their history, and not necessarily the nice part of their history, which it's actually worth kids knowing, as long as you can give them sort of support with thinking about how horrible that really is. Moving on though to happier things, Wigtown Book Festival has unveiled its spring book weekend programme. It's got a dual focus of women crime writers. There's quite a few actually female crime writers that live in the region or have lived in the region, and Covenanters. Now, this is a bit of a link back to Elspeth there in a way. It's taking place from the 2nd to the 4th of May, so it's pretty much happening. Right. And it's going to have authors like Alex Gray and local crime writer Lynn McEwen as well. They will be giving talks over the weekend. On the subject of the Covenanters, there will be a walk around Wigtown led by Donna Brewster, which will be taking in all of the sites to do with the Wigtown martyrs, which again is another horrible story.
Don't think I know that one.
You don't know the story of the Wigtown martyrs?
I'm not sure.
They were the two Marys who were tied to stakes. Oh, but you must know that one.
Right,
yeah,
okay. I've possibly not heard it since school, but yes, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they were tied to stakes and in the tide at Wigtown, and as the tide came in, they drowned. And one of the delightful things that they did was they put the older woman further in than the younger one, because the older woman, they were both called Margaret, basically felt quite protective of the younger one, so they thought that she would break with watching the younger woman drown. Lovely story. Yes, humans are great to each other.
Especially. Yeah. I'd love to say it's improved a lot, but I don't know.
No, I'm not sure it has improved a lot. But there'll also be talks by author Philip Paris, who's just written a novel about the killing times. It's called A Fire in Their Hearts. And there'll be a talk by photographer Ian Stewart and writer James Robertson, where they'll be presenting a mix of photography and writing to explain the history of the Covenanters and the killing times. So that should be really interesting. Moving on again, the Dumfries and Galloway Arts Festival, which is now called Arts D&G, in a rebrand that happened last year. It's launching this month, on the 21st of May, and it will run until the 14th of June. There's a wide range of events taking place across the whole region, but I just want to highlight one event taking place in Kirkcudbright, because Anne Chaurand, whose music you will have heard a number of times already by this point, I hope. She's playing there with her other flautist partner, Rebecca Carson, Now I went to the Catstrand. They did a recital at the Catstrand, and it was just beautiful, gorgeous music. Rebecca's a really beautiful lyrical flautist, so and Anne is just a wonderful guitarist, and the blend of the two is really nice.
Was it when they had that event that Joe had organised?
They did play there as well. Yeah, they did a couple.
Yeah, they did a couple of pieces at the Catstrand.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah. It's lovely to hear guitar and flute. Beautiful. They do work very well together.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So their recital takes place on the 24th of May at 4 p.m. at the Episcopal Church in Kirkcudbright. The full programme is available through the Arts D&G website, which we'll link below, but that to me is a definite highlight. Spring Fling is back on again this year, as it is every year. Do we have the brochure? Yes, we do. Yes, you will have seen these brochures around and about everywhere. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff. I'm just going to highlight the blue route and the purple route because that takes in Galloway. So I'm sorry if you would like to know about Dumfries or Annandale. This is a show about Galloway. It's just that's a fact. So the blue route, which takes in all of Wigtonshire, is featuring walking sculpture trails, which sounds pretty interesting, jewellery, pottery, felt paintings, which I quite like the look of, wood turning, antique restoration. I think that's in Newton Stewart. There's a guy who's an antique restorer in Newton Stewart. Textiles and print work. The purple route, which is the Stewartry, has painting, unsurprisingly, because obviously Kirkcudbright is in the Stewartry and there's a lot of painting there, but also sustainable art, lino cuts and prints, textiles, jewellery, 3D art, photography, collaborative paintings, which I had a look at them and they look really quite cool actually. They're two people who work together and they're kind of a bit fantastical, which I quite like. Digital art and fake food as well, which I also caught my eye because it's like, oh, fake food, that's a bit different. Fake food is, our entire theme today is food, so I'm not sure if fake food really fits in. But and of course, Kirkcudbright Galleries as well is on the Spring Fling Trail for the Stewartry. If you look at the map, just want to make this point, if you look at the map of the routes, one thing that you'll notice is that Kirkcudbright has the most pins. So there's the most things to go and see in Kirkcudbright. And there's always something for everyone, basically. Finally, though, I did just as I was getting things together for this section, I discovered that the Gem Rock Museum in Creetown is set to close.
I thought that was really popular.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a couple of times, and it's always really popular, and it seems to draw in people from all over the place. And actually, I noticed this; it was on in the national as opposed to in the local press, and it's just like as I was going by, it's like, oh. I recognised it first off, and then I saw the headline, which was quite sad. Basically, it's been a family-run business for 50 years, and the current member of the family, who is the owner, wants to retire, and they can't find anyone to take over from them.
It's a crying shame.
Yeah, it is a crying shame. It's sad. I really hope it gets an 11th hour reprieve. Get the word out. Get it an 11th hour reprieve. Definitely. There we are. That's my cultural gleanings.
Fantastic. Lots to look forward to this month.
Loads. Absolutely loads.
So, and as mentioned at the end of the core paths, come to our Facebook page if there's anything you want highlighted in the future cultural gleanings. Yep,
absolutely. And we will do our best to get everything in.
Welcome, Abi Mordin, to the podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Glad to have you here.
Thanks. Good to be here.
So, we always kind of start with some just general Galloway questions, just to kind of get us all warmed up.
Hi.
Abi, tell us about your earliest Galloway memory.
So I had to really think about this question when you sent me the list of questions. I was like, right, because I've been visiting the region for a really long time. I've lived in Scotland since 1998. Yeah. And I lived up in the Highlands, first of all, and in Aberdeenshire, and I moved down to Central Belt, and I lived in a cooperative farm in South Lanarkshire, then I moved into Glasgow, and then I moved back out to South Lanarkshire, and I moved to Dumfries and Galloway in 2020, but I've been visiting, I had to message a friend and say, when did you move to the Dune of May? and it was 26 years ago. So that's how long I've been visiting. So my friends Alison and Brett used to live in a yurt in a cooperative woodland community on the Machars, not that far from Wigton, and our babies were the same age. And I'd met them in the Highlands up in Glenelg, and we just kept in touch. So wherever they lived, I came to visit. Wherever I lived, they'd come to visit. Visiting my pals in the woods. So there were various people living in kind of like self-builds, like huts and yurts, in the cooperative community woodland out on the Machars. And those guys still live out there, not on that location. They were lucky enough to be offered about 7 acres of land, and they've just finished building their own house, which is amazing. Years later.
That's amazing. You've got that.
Yeah, but other than that, I've been visiting, and through them got to know loads of people down here. Folk around the sort of Lochhill area, and came. I guess I kind of drove through the Glenkens loads on my way down. I remember seeing the sign for Catstrand, but never really stopped here until Lorraine and Ula moved to the Hidden Roads to the Agroecological mill. And came to visit them a few times. I'd known Lorraine from Glasgow because she'd done a permaculture course that we'd been running at the organisation that I ran in Glasgow. And then we had the Scottish Permaculture Festival at their place in 2018, I think that was. And then I was on the cusp of leaving Glasgow for a long time at that point, but my teenage children were preventing me from doing so. So the running joke in the family had been, I'm going to move to Galloway when you turn 18. So that was my youngest daughter. She turned 18 in 2019, end of 2019. And we moved down in 2020, just a couple of weeks before lockdown. That's quite a long-winded kind of not really even answering your question, that's more of a how the hell did you end up here kind of question.
That's actually really interesting.
But it's kind of quite it's quite tangential, and I've just met loads of different people across the region, and ended up here.
I know it's kind of those kind of places. It kind of draws you in.
And the Machars is lovely, but I don't think I would want to live down there. And St Medlands is my favourite beach. Actually, we were talking about beaches earlier. I've got pals staying this weekend. I've just packed them off to Moss Yard. Because it's like the nicest beach that's the most accessible from here. I think it is anyway.
Yeah, it's very nice.
But if I was going to, my favourite beach is St Medlands and Monreath and down that way.
It's all a lovely coastline. One of my favourite beaches, it's not a very comfortable beach, but it's a really dramatic one, is Ravenshaw, which is just by Creetown.
Okay.
It's really, really rocky, but it's got beautiful caves, and that's actually, there's smugglers' caves in there and stuff like that. So
cool.
It's cool.
You told us how you got here. Can you tell us about your life and work experience in Galloway since you've been here?
Yeah, so I guess I brought what I was already doing with me. I've always been, I guess, something that you've got like a portfolio worker. I have lots of different projects happening simultaneously. It's probably because I'm a bit neurodivergent. Can't just focus on one thing at a time. And also everything I do is collaborative and cooperative. I don't do anything on my own. And I've also pretty much since the 90s worked in and around sustainable land use and food specifically. I guess I'm driven as a human by my twin sort of passions for environmental justice and social justice. In the 90s, I lived in tree houses defending land from roads and open cast mines and that kind of thing. And that's in South Wales and a bit in England. I'm from Wales originally. All the projects I've ever been involved in have been sort of land-based, environmental, but with a kind of social justice kind of angle. And the older I got, I'm 48 now, and the older I got, the more food. Well, it's always been there. It's the intersection. It's so easy. Everybody eats every day. So we all need food in our lives. Nobody doesn't need food. And we've all got an opinion about food as well, whether it's I like chips or I don't like chips. Right. We all have something to say about food. So it's easy to hook people in with it. It's an easy conversation to have. And it's also one of the biggest drivers for how we are currently looking after our planet and how we're going to look after it in the future. So how we eat and what we eat has a fundamental impact on our ecosystems on our communities, on our on resilience, on climate change, all of that. So all those things that matter to me, food has an impact on. As I said, I have lots of different projects on the go at the same time. So I moved to my friend's to Agroecological Mill, the hidden mill, in 2020, and set up a wee market garden there, which is called Hidden Veg. And then more latterly, we were offered land by the farmers who farm next door, who basically said, like, are you still looking for land? Because we need to sell a chunk. They needed money for something else. They said, we don't want to put it on the market. We only want to sell it to you. Do you want it? So we bought 10 acres.
Oh, nice.
So we bought that almost exactly 2 years ago. It's very exciting. And we've lived on that land for 6 months in the yurt. And so I moved the market garden over, so that we're going into the first growing season for the hidden veg on that land, which is also just a stone's throw from our neighbours, so where we'd lived before. So so as well as the vegetables there, so that's growing veg and selling them to the local community, and a kind of spin-off from that in around 2022 was getting together with other local food producers and creating what was then called the Glenkens Food Hub and became the Galloway Food Hub. It grew from 7 producers to 35 producers, and it's very successful and runs out of this building.
That's brilliant.
And up in Glasgow, I'm just touching all the projects really briefly. So up in Glasgow, I've been involved in something called the Glasgow Food Policy Partnership, which is this is the jargon bit: a cross-sector, multi-stakeholder approach to co-creating better food systems.
Exactly.
Sorry, it just trips off the tongue. But basically, it brings together like council, NHS, food businesses, community food organisations, people and organisations involved in food, to look at how we can make our food more affordable, more accessible, fairer, more equitable, more sustainably produced. So it's a kind of like holistic approach to how we tackle food, bringing together these different sectors that may not necessarily all work together usually. So when I moved down to Galloway, I kind of looked around to see if that was already happening. And it wasn't, but I sort of talked to lots of people in Dumfries and Galloway Council and the NHS and NFUS regional manager and various different people and said, "Is this already happening? No. Are you up for it? Yes. Okay. So we convened that. So I coordinate that, and that's leading on to the Good Food Nation plan, which is a big sort of national strategic plan that the Scottish Government enacted a couple of years ago. So there'll be a regional Good Food Nation plan for every part of Scotland. So we're involved in that. And I also organise or coordinate of something called the Regenerative Farming Network. So that started its life as a small cluster of farmers in Dumfries and Galloway who wanted to get together to talk about farming and climate change. And it was in relation to COP26, so it's in 2021. And we had lots of online meetings, and we had 2 in-person farm walks. And then by the end of 2021, after COP26, we had about 80 people signed up, started with 20, grew to 80. It's now a Scotland-wide network of 360 farmers, mainly in Dumfries and Galloway, but lots of them all over the rest of the country. So we organise farm walks and other ways for farmers to share knowledge that helps them shift their practices towards more nature-friendly, more resilient, more ecological farming methods. And then, I guess quite recently, I've been involved in setting up Lochhill Agroecological Farm, which is just outside Crossmichael. So that's a new community interest company where we're taking what's called an enterprise stacking approach. So we've got a Shetland cattle herd. We're setting up a cow with pasture-fed micro dairy. We'll be producing milk and yoghurt by the middle of the summer, and a market garden. So Emily is our new grower there, and she's living on site, and she's setting up a 3-acre market garden. So lots more veg being produced. We're really passionate about vegetables, and I guess my role is kind of overseeing the whole thing, but also organising the events and workshops programmes. So we've got Brilliant Birds coming up on the 26th of April, which is like join us for the dawn chorus, basically. And a fried egg butty. Fried egg bites.
I'm unfortunately one of those people that generally, if I see dawn, it's because I'm still awake. So I'm never good at early morning.
Yeah.
So that's
7 a.m. is quite early as well, but you're not going to hear the dawn chorus if it come later in the day. So we had lots of events and workshops there last year, and same as more this year, basically. I think that's just about everything, broadly speaking, that I do, and then other like community things. So yesterday, for example, I was at New Galloway Town Hall, working with a few other health and wellbeing practitioners from the area, and my part of that was a sort of seed sowing workshop, so just a 1 hour gardening workshop, and that might lead on to a sort of monthly gardening workshop running from this building. There seems to be enthusiasm because everyone was just like, I'd love to know more about how to grow my own food. And I was like, well, would you be up for that? Like an hour and a half on a Wednesday evening once a month? So yeah. And then of course the Glenkens Pollinators project and getting all these fruit trees planted across the area, and I just do like a lot of everything. Yeah. And I've got my own cows as well. Cattle, Shetland cattle. Yeah.
Nice.
So, another long answer, sorry.
And we'll probably drill into some of that in more detail.
Yeah.
But before we go there, excuse me, do you have, what's your favourite places in Galloway? You've already mentioned the beach, but is there any other?
I hardly ever get to the beach, really. But I wish I did get them more often. And I don't climb hills as much as I'd like to, because I've got a really dodgy knee. I've got no cartilage left in my right knee, and I've got osteophytes. So the bone is growing extra. My kneecap's growing extra bits of bone into the space where the cartilage was. So don't go up the hills as much as I'd like to.
Doesn't sound like something
but I mean, this area is just lovely, and getting up Courserine when I can is like absolutely honour, and I'm sort of, it's a good way to sort of blow the cobwebs away and that
definitely.
kind of thing.
Worth the pain.
It's worth the pain, exactly. Guessing that's what you want it, what you need it for, isn't it? And I mean, just today I took my friends to the waterfall at the Hidden Mill on the Hidden Road, which is a lovely spot. And I used to live at Boagtoll, briefly at Boagtoll, which is obviously a very short walk from the Holy Linn.
Yeah, the Holy Linn's beautiful.
So that's a nice little circular from there. We rented Boagtoll for like 2 years.
Yeah.
I think those are probably the spots that I kind of navigate to. But being somebody with like a market garden and cows and multiple projects, I don't get out much. Beyond that point, really should. It really should. Just sometimes, just like I think, as I said, St Medon's being my favourite beach. What Bruce and I've done a couple of times. Bruce and my partner, and like a few times with. Do you know St Medon's? You know the beach down there.
It's a bit further over than my sort of general knowledge, isn't it? It's a bit more sort of.
So it's like it's when you're on that Monreath stretch of road, Monreath. So there's a sign that just says golf course, and St Medon's is known for like the golf course there. And Sherilyn, who's an amazing chef, has been I think 2 years now that she started the St Medon's Golf Club restaurant, but anyone can go, and she's absolutely amazing food. It's just at the weekends. But if you carry on past the golf course, down the little windy road, there's just a sort of like rough car park down there, and there's stony, kind of wonky, rocky, but then you go this way, and it's better when the tide's out, but because it's not too far out, it doesn't disappear altogether like it does at like when my daughter used to work over what's it called? Sandy Hills over that way. Yeah. It's like, where's the sea? But when the tide's out at St Medon's, it reveals this like beautiful big sandy beach, and then you can also nip in round the corner, and you've got the caves around the in and out.
I like it.
Sand and rocks and caves, and it's just like. Yeah, and then around to the steam packet in for some lunch or something, and it does feel like you're on holiday. It's in Galloway, but like you could be someplace else.
That's it. There's lots of places in Galloway that are really good for that. And a little trip to Whithorn works for me, obviously. We actually just last summer my my aunt and my sister, we all went out there just to have a look at it because it's like, look, this is where we always used to come. Kind of thing. It's nice. You just instantly feel like you're on holiday over there.
Yeah, exactly.
I get that feeling.
Well, the landscape's different.
Yeah.
The landscape's different.
Oh, it's so wide swept and you know, by and large empty compared to our hills and things like that. It's almost like the difference between going down south to Norfolk. My grandmother used to live in Norfolk.
Okay.
So when I went to visit that, it's just like you can see for miles and miles and miles. Where do the hills go? I need my hills.
Well, my daughter's in Angus. My eldest lives up in Angus, and I get that when I'm there.
Yeah.
Like she's just outside our Arbroath, and you're just like, it's just flat.
Yes.
Where are the cows? Because there are cows here. I really like cows.
Cows are nice animals.
Whereas occasionally go south and you're just like, no, I just don't feel right here. I can see stuff a long way over here.
Yeah.
It's too far.
And I'm from South Wales originally, and like within a sort of spitting distance of the sea there. So when I was a kid, you used to like grab my bike and cycle out on the cliff tops, and then you'd be out in the countryside really quickly. But then before I moved up to Scotland, I was in West Wales, sort of Cardigan kind of area, which is so similar to this area. Yeah. It's like, you know, hills and dips and glens and valleys and like rolling and very similar community as well. You know, like your sort of traditional farming community, a lot of livestock. But then I guess several generations of alternative culture folks.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've got a good sort of healthy dose of that down here.
Exactly. So it's really similar. The landscape's similar, and the farming is similar, and the communities are really similar. And I guess that's why I feel quite drawn to this area. It's like, because if I was going to go back to Wales, which I won't, but if I was, it would be that area that I went back to. So it feels like home. It's always felt like home. Yeah,
that's nice. That is nice. And we're speaking a lot about farming actually, and agriculture, which are rich in folklore, and I like my folklore. So have you got any sort of like old agricultural folk tales or anything that you picked up? You know what I mean? It's like, is it Terry Pratchett? Says, you know, agricultural people, they really know a good metaphor when they see one, which is why, you know, you've got the reaper has his big scythe and things like that, you know.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, not specifically, actually. We talk about the weather quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess what's really current in sort of conversation with farmers now is the extent to which the weather is changing and is much more unpredictable. Yes. And the folks that I connect with and work with are people that are really seeing that that unpredictability and how it's affecting their farming practices. So, you know, that, and I guess it's not specifically a farming thing, but was it oak before ash, you're in for a splash, and ash before oak, you're in for a soak. Yeah. That phrase, that kind of thing, and it's like, and now the ashes are all dying. Yes. So, they are. So sorry, I'm going to bring the mood down a little bit here, but there's so many changes happening that it's. Yeah.
I remember, years ago, we were at an appointment in Dumfries, and I don't spend an awful lot of time listening to Radio 2, generally. Yeah. But there was a Radio 2 gardening programme whilst we're sitting in the waiting room, and they were just talking about, so yes, we have to get used to the fact that we have to do an awful lot of pollination ourselves now, and you have to remember to do that. And they were just so
matter of fact
about it, and I'm just sitting there thinking,
by the way, all the bees dead.
All the bees are gone. Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess one thing that I'm kind of, and this could be, there's a couple of things that I thought might be complete nonsense, but I live on the edge of the Shermas. The Shermas Burn, right? And the guy that sold me that land, and I think you should take this with a massive pinch of salt, but maybe it's true that the Shermas used to be the border between Galloway and Northumberland.
I can
that it means edge of the Shire or something like that. And you just think, Northumberland's quite a long way further east.
Strathclyde used to go all the way up, all the way from Wales up to, but there's arguments in Galloway was not part of it. So
bits of this region were Welsh speaking.
There are.
Once upon a time.
You can still see little bits and pieces of Welsh language in the.
So much. I mean, Pen. That's the same. Pen, Aber is. I mean, everything. Pen Pont. I mean, every time I go through there, it's just like, I'm in Wales. Top of the bridge.
Yeah. lot of Northumbrian names, lots of Gaelic names actually.
Yeah.
The Glenkens in particular, hotspot for that.
Well, we named our land. We gave our little 10 acres that was part of a much bigger field, and we gave it a Gaelic name, which I can't even pronounce. It's funny. On an ordnance survey map, the whole thing is called White Hill, right? So we bought a little bit of White Hill. So Little White Hill is, and I'm apologise to any Gaelic speakers who might be listening to this, Crochengial. I can't. So is it? But it's not knock, though, is it? So that's me saying it wrong. Is knock, and that's the Anglification version. The knock is the Anglification of knock, which I can't pronounce. But that's what we called it.
Crocken. In fact, it's actually how you're supposed to say it. With
Crocken, but it gets
Crochengial.
Crochengial.
The White Hill.
Little White Hill, but it gets
because the
Anne bit is the little So I know I got the translation correct.
Yeah, you did.
But I can't say it properly. But I like the fact that we've named it that anyway, and then I anglify it to Knockengeel, which is totally wrong, and very bad of me. Must pronounce it correctly.
Is what Crookie's just next door-ish to that, isn't it? So is that kind of similar etymology?
It probably is similar etymology. I mean, the thing is, I think there's a lot of crossover with Scots, and then when that word becomes mixed with Scots, then it becomes knock.
Yes.
Which is obviously, you've got
lots of knocks around here, knocks all over the shop.
Like Knock and Gork is one of those names. It actually means the sheep, the hill of the sheep, or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sheep there.
And then another thing that I heard, but I don't know if it's true, is that how we had the sort of centre of dairy in Scotland, so that we have more dairy producers here than anywhere else in Scotland, right? That much is true. But allegedly, where all the mega dairies are now, Wigtonshire kind of area, it used to be a big vegetable producing region, and there was apparently the train line that took the veg from that area to markets in London and Glasgow respectively. And it was Tony Barretti that told me this. Do you know Tony Barretti? No. So he's an elected member. He's a councillor. He actually lives. I think he lives in Newton Stewart. Pretty sure he lives in Newton Stewart. He's actually an elected member of councillor for Sanquhar.
But he lives in
which I just think is strange. But anyway, this isn't but you don't live in your constituency. Anyway, but his family, I think, ran a fruit and veg shop.
All right.
Like back in the day, whenever that day was. And it was him that told me originally. And he's absolutely certain that it's true. And actually, if you're down that area, there are various little sort of lanes. I've got I think it's a Tatty Shores Lane or something like that. Because the shores of the ridges of the potatoes. So anyway, any name that's got the word shore in it would have been potatoes. So Shorelands in Glasgow. Potato fields.
Paddy fields.
That kind of thing. So I think and a new field in Dalry actually would have been just like the fields just underneath the steadings there. That was all, and not that long ago. I think was all carrots and potatoes and other crops.
I keep looking at that and I just think to myself that is actually ripe for a good community buyout. You could have a proper.
It was bought by Maxwell sold it to what's the shops, Wilson's, didn't they?
So it's just growing grass.
More silage.
Just growing grass. I have to admit, I'm not very keen on that. The Larnfield's another one, which is between here and New Galloway, the one with the standing stone in it.
Okay, yes.
And that just means the field of the bread, or the bread field.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking there used to be much more oat production. Basically, our agriculture was much more diverse than people think it is, and it's not that long ago, and it's been forgotten quite quickly.
Well, partly the sort of globalisation of food means that we do not grow the stuff that we did grow.
No.
I mean,
so in Scotland, we import 80% of all fruit and veg that we consume as citizens. And most of that is from climate risk countries. We basically outsourced our kind of nutrient intake to countries that are on the hard edge of climate change.
So like Canada for a lot of our wheat.
And we export most of what we produce here. Most of what we produce is lamb and beef, and most of that is exported. In fact, a lot of the lamb is exported to the continent.
The French really like our lamb.
French really like our lamb. Yeah. So we're not food resilient. We're not food secure as at all. Despite there being a lot of food being produced around us, and we really, really, really urgently need to upscale our fruit and veg production. So, and that's partly why I'm motivated to have a small market garden, but also that's the kind of like motivation behind the Galloway Food Hub. We created through the Galloway Food Hub, we managed to create a way that local producers could say, do you know what, I can have a little, even if their beef or their lamb or whatever is going through conventional markets. More and more people are saying, well, I can have a side hustle.
That's it. I think the side hustle is something which is also becoming a bit more economically necessary as well.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be starving by the end of this because the amount of food we're already talking about and going to be talking about. Let's kick it off by talking about the Glenkens Food Month, which is coming up.
It's coming into its 8th year, isn't it?
It started in 2019.
Yeah.
So 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yes. It will be coming into its 8th year. There was some mental arithmetic disputing going on at the meeting the other night. I was like, no, that'd be its 7th year, but it started in 2019. So yes, it would be coming into its 8th year. Yeah.
So do you have anything you can divulge that's coming up this year?
I mean, we're not fully sure it's going ahead, actually.
Oh, no.
So we had a meeting about it at Catstrand a couple of days ago. There's currently no funding of it in hand, so to speak. I coordinated it last year, and I've been involved and organised lots of events for it in previous years. And last year was a bit of a rushed job because I think GCat heard they had the funding in May, and they put out an advert saying, we need someone to coordinate this at 1.5 days a week. And so I responded to that. I've done it I've been involved the last 6 years, helped with lots of different aspects of it in the last 6 years. I could probably do that. But I didn't start that until into June. And then the programme had to be ready to go to the publisher to be printed, or the designer to then to go to the printer by I think we kind of went for the end of July, but that only left 4 weeks, and so everyone's just running around trying to scramble events together, and there wasn't really, there was a bit of money for my time, and there was money to print the programs, but there wasn't really money for helping different organisations to run events. So it was only if people had capacity or the resources, and I think, going back to 2019, 2020, when there was there was a decent budget basically, and quite a lot of events were put on that Ready Steady Cook at Catstrand, and just things that were kind of generated. Especially there was a big Harvest Festival in New Galloway Park as well. So there was more resource to enable that, and that's the last year and the year before there wasn't really, and then this year there's so far actually nothing at all, because I came out of Food Month last year thinking, right, this needs a bit of a rethink, because since 2019 so much has changed in that area. There's been a lot of I think that's good. It's all good change. We've got the food hub, we've got the shops are really kicking off. They're great, all the sort of the village shops. So really kind of going above and beyond what they do. There's loads more activities happening. This place has had a revamp and is open, and it's kind of there's even more community events than they used to be. And we've always been an area that does loads, right? So I just kind of thought this needs a rethink about how it's going to run in the future. And also, as I said at the top of this, I work in a very collaborative, cooperative way. I don't think it should be on any one organisation to say, we're doing Food Month. If it's a community thing, it has to be mandated by the community. So we had a meeting in GCat in Catstrand the other night, and it was really to sort of basically have a discussion, an open discussion. Is the format working? do people want to do this again? And or are there changes that need to be made? And actually, what came out of that was everybody was just like, yeah, we should be carrying on doing something, but maybe less, but more, less but better, less but better.
Yes.
Yeah. So different organisations and groups and businesses collaborating on like a few really shit hot events, basically.
Yeah, that sounds like a good
and so we've also got like Becca Nelson. She runs the Community Spaces Network. So she's kind of, her role is coordinating and supporting all the different groups that look after this building and the town hall, the Balmcullen Village Hall, and Mossdale Village Hall, and the Langgreen Hall, and Catstrand, and all of that. So they've got people on those committees, and they all come together, and they kind of meet, and her role is to support them on to do things collaboratively, or to help them maximise their venues. So we could have a series of events based on those centres, but working with food businesses and a food producer to have, to do pop-up markets, to do a community meal, to do a film night that's for example, Leslie was there from the Dalry Town Hall, and she was talking about having like an Italian themed night with like the Italian Job as the film, and then having Galloway pasta, and having a sort of Italian themed dish, and or a curry night with like a Bollywood film, and people are doing a potluck curry, and that kind of, so things like that. So I think less but better, less but better.
Yeah, that sounds like a
But also, as I said, there's no funding at the moment, and what are we in just now, like April, and you'll know as well as me that funding takes a while to turn around. So it might actually be that this is a fallow year for Food Month, and then it'll come back better next year with a bit more organisation.
Fingers crossed.
But we're not sure at the moment, basically. But there'll be loads of other stuff happening.
Of course, there's lots of events happening all the time across the regions.
So many.
It's a busy place.
And then obviously in the wider context, you mentioned it earlier on, you're involved with the Galloway Food Hub.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about that work you're doing with them and about the Food Hub itself?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, Galloway Food Hub started its life as Glenkens Food Hub. And this was a kind of spin-off from the producer market. So I used to have a stall at the producer market, as Hidden Veg, which, it's a lovely wee market, but it doesn't get a huge amount of footfall. And especially as a veg producer, in order to sort of make your stall look amazing, you have to harvest quite a lot. And if you don't get the footfall, then a lot of that is just compost or cow food or pig food or whatever. It was a really good way to kind of like get my face out there. And for people to know like what we did and who it was and stuff. But you'll find that all the markets across Dumfries and Galloway, it's really, you won't find very many veg producers because it's a hard gig. The margins on veg are very, very small. So as a sort of spin-off from the producer market, and as a way to kind of like reduce the wastage, I kind of collaborated with Irene, who farms at Pulvanity up at Catstrand, and then we brought in a few other producers from outside the area. So Naomi, who runs Suey Fields down by Auchencairn, they've got pork. Well, I haven't got pork anymore, but eggs and beef, and they did have pork at the time. And Ruth at Low Aldgirth, and she does sort of mutton and pork as well. Irene does veg, but also pickles and preserves and that kind of thing. So that initial pilot stage, we kind of scoped it out. We had a bit of funding from the GDT Wind Farm Fund, and we did a bit of a sort of scoping feasibility study. This is something people are going to want in that area, and we produced a report called Good Food in the Glenkens, which had actually three main outcomes. One was a like a short supply chain food, just like food hub like that. Another was a community farm, and the third was more education and events and learning. So we took that forward, and we had a bit of money left over to run as a pilot. And Jane, the hairdresser, so we basically used her garage for the first few months, which it was great. As you laugh, but she's got a yard that you can drive a vehicle right in and right up to the doors,
the former garden centre.
Exactly. And actually, like we don't have that here, so this is a a better building in many ways, but because it hasn't got swallows flying in and out and condensation falling on you, and basically all of I've forgotten her husband's name. But he was antiques dealer, so it's like garage is full of stuff.
Yeah,
and just put some sheets over things, and we just like set tables up. It was great. We used their space, and it was very kind of them to let us use that and see if it worked. Anyway, it did work. So we when this place opened, community centre opened, we started using the back room, and we had to move out of the back room when it was all being refurbished, and we had everything in the hall there. But the food hub started with 7 producers and just delivering to households in the Glenkens within about 10 miles. And it grew over those years. So that was the back end of 2022, and that was at back end of 2021. So it was early 2022 that we kind of launched it. And now we're up to 35 local food producers. Nice. And we originally had about 20 or so customers, and now we're on about 100 and something customers. It's open right now. You can go online and place your order if you don't already. And basically, you can now buy your entire weekly shopping.
That's really good.
Yeah, so there's I think about 7 or 8 veg producers, and we work collaboratively rather than it being a competitive market. It's like we need more veg, so let's all support each other to grow more veg. And there's pork, lamb, beef, goat. That's Irene's. Irene's goat. Milk, 3 different cheese producers. And then we buy in things like coffee and chocolate, and extra veg is being produced locally, so you can buy lemons and ginger and seeds like citrus fruits, pickles and preserves and like vinegars. So there's a whole 35 food producers. Loads of cake and bread. I always forget about cake and bread. I don't eat cake and bread, but Trico's Deli in Thornhill and Earth's Crust, and it's really popular.
Earth's Crust is very popular.
Yeah. So it is an online farmers market, basically. It's an online farmers market, and it's a short producer-led supply chain that enables nature-friendly food producers from across Dumfries and Galloway to get their amazing produce to remote rural communities in our area, in a nutshell. But it is.
We will definitely put the link in the comment down below.
So brilliant.
There'll be lots of links actually.
There should be. And lots of volunteer involvement. It's definitely, I think you could call it a community asset. Lots of people want to be involved. So there's people that are committed to packing. So this room that we're sitting in right now is a spillover packing room. So we have like weighing scales in 3 different locations around this room, and stacks of boxes and bags of vegetables everywhere. And it's just on a Thursday. So if you came in here next Thursday, that's what this Thursday coming. This is what you'd see. And people weighing out beetroot into
It's a very versatile
bags.
room.
It's very versatile room.
I have sat in here in a nice circle and done music as well as doing the podcast. You doing it, and of course, And
I don't know if you looked in the back room, the food hub room. It's worth going and having a look. So the racks and shelves, and each one has got a different label on there. So as well as like growing the sort of customer base to over 100 customers, we also have, I think it's 15 collection points now. So we've got collection points in Wigton, I think is the furthest west, and Thornhill is the furthest east, I think, that's right. And then Monive and Newton Stewart and Gatehouse of Fleet and Kirkcudbright. So people can collect from. So we still deliver to the Glenkens. So you can get a delivery to your door of amazing produce. But it's a collection points if you live further afield.
Well, that makes logistical sense.
And lots of folk come here to collect as well. Because they like that. It's connecting with
touch point.
It's connecting with where your food comes from.
Speaking to people that actually grow it.
Exactly, because a lot of the producers are involved in sort of helping with the packing as well.
No, that's actually ideal. So it is.
And it like I said, it's a kind of zero waste as well, because I only put on the hub what I know I'm going to be able to harvest. And if so I can put on, let's say, 10 bags of kale, but if I only sell 8 bags of kale, and because it's sold up front, I only harvest that much.
Yeah, so that's much less waste. Yeah. That's a much better idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then it means it's exceptionally fresh when it gets to your door.
Exactly.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. We had an event at the library actually. Now I'm going to move on to pollinating because we had that event at the library this year for Imbolc, which was really quite exciting, where we sang to the trees. Yes, we have the Protect All Pollinators thing from last summer, right up there behind you. That's all part of the Glenkens Pollinators group.
Yes.
Go on, tell us about them.
Tell us about. This is Galloway Community Council that got a bit of funding from Scottish Power Energy Networks, and Morgan Jenner asked me to coordinate making this happen. So I didn't know anything about it until they asked me to do it. Like, okay, I can do that. But the idea was basically to distribute about 350 fruit and nut trees across the region. Planted in people's gardens, private gardens, community gardens, community spaces, that kind of thing. So I had a certain budget for the fruit trees, about £3,000 or something like that. That's about right, and that paid for the trees as well as the stakes. Trees themselves are produced up in Perthshire, grown at a nursery called Apple Tree Man by a woman called Lindsay. And she's on a farm called Blackie. It used to be run by a guy called Anne Chaurand. So he's retired and handed it all over to Lindsay, basically. She's brilliant. So my job was trying to find enough people to take all the trees. So there is a really cool map, actually, as a sort of map you can look at on Google Maps, and I've plotted where all the trees have ended up, and it's a really nice kind of corridor of the area with like clusters around the usual settlements you'd expect. So quite a few in Dalry, and there's quite a few in New Galloway, Balmortal, and then a few in Corsica and a couple in Catstrand. I think went down as far as Crossmichael. So we had a really fun day in the library back garden, distributing the fruit trees. So that was kind of, they all arrived. Lindsay came and she dropped all the trees off, and that's a lot of trees. So my friend Becky helped with that. So she actually owns Boagtol, the house that I used to live in. She was my landlord for a bit, but she's my pal as well. And she moved up from Norfolk, where she had been looking after, I think 300 fruit trees. So she's an orchard person. And so she helped with we had to kind of, because the list was really long. It's got an apple tree list alone of about 50 different varieties of apples.
Oh, that's good, though. Diversity.
And because I'd asked people what they wanted, I sent the list out, and then I had to so people kind of said, can I have this one, this one, this one, this one? And then I had to match people up with those trees. So when all the trees came in, and they were all in their kind of variety kind of blocks, but then we had to split those off into this person wants these ones and this person wants these ones. And there were pears and cherries and plums and walnuts in there as well. So that was the tree distribution day, and then we also planted 3 trees on that day as well, in the back garden of the library. And that was in October. Is that October? I think it was November.
I think it was October.
So it was November. So that was good fun. And then it was. Was it actually Imbolc? It was the 1st of February, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because it was Sunday. It was a Sunday.
Yes,
it just fell just really quite nicely.
Yeah, beautifully. So it's Imbolc, St Bridget's Day, same thing. But and I've been involved in organising a Glasgow wassail. So up in Glasgow, I kind of looked after the Queen's Park community orchards up there, and we'd have a big wassail event with Morris dancers. They're like rag Morris traditions, so they wear red and black and they look crazy. Not handkerchiefs.
The
big hats and
proper,
the scary Morris dancers and lots of sticks whacking.
So now you need to get Gary doing that next year.
Yeah. Well, he was more the handkerchief variety.
I know.
But yes, have a sort of Galloway Morris, because these guys they're called the Borders Reivers, so they would come down here. The Border Reivers Morris dancers. They're based in Glasgow, but
I know that was great fun.
But they're kind of speaking to the region, I think. Anyway, so that was the idea. Was sort of can we kind of bring that tradition here? And the idea is a wassail is that you you're making a lot of noise, pots and pans and singing and stomping about, and you're waking the trees up from their winter slumber, and you're chasing away the evil spirits, and then you bless the trees by pouring cider on their roots and drinking good health of the apple tree and decorating them, and that's blessing them to ask the spirits for a good harvest for the year ahead. Basically, so fingers crossed we get a good harvest.
There was hanging toast from the trees as well.
Yes, that's an old tradition. So you soak the bread in cider and then you hang it from the tree, and that's part of the blessing. But we were talking about the agricultural traditions earlier, how did this thing even start? And actually, it's to draw the bugs and beasties away from the trees. So it's basically a kind of like early form of pesticide control, but because it's like fermenting on the tree, so they've attracted to that rather than to the tree or the fruit itself. And
I wonder whether that's a tradition that didn't come from Galloway, because obviously with all of our rain.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think moss ailing probably didn't was not traditional to the region.
But I mean, that's the interesting thing. Every different agricultural biome will have these different kinds of traditions and things that have sprung up, ways that people have over time figured out. Because that's what you do. You're interacting with the land every day, and you want your harvest to be better.
Yes.
So you try and find.
You try anything.
You try anything.
Ask the gods.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
It worked one time for this one person, so
no
harm in trying.
That's it. Exactly.
Bit of manifesting. Why not?
Now, we already touched on we talked about what we call the Homerdal Rye down there at Newfield, and the potential for sort of like vegetable growing. How do ordinary people actually get to start unlocking stuff like that? I mean, what do we do? You know what I mean?
Do you mean the bigger spaces or just our own gardens?
Well, I mean, our own gardens, obviously. Everyone, if you have a garden, I mean, I go veg, obviously, in my garden, because, that's what you do. When I moved house, I found myself with a flower garden, and I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do with a flower garden, so it's been changed a lot.
Good.
Because flower gardens, I mean, obviously got flowers.
Flowers are nice.
Yeah, flowers are nice.
I've come round to flowers in more recent years.
But
they have a purpose. They're quite pretty.
They're good for attracting pollinators.
Yes.
So it's a kind of holistic approach, really, having some flowers. But and we're currently chunking up our lawn as well. We're going to be putting. We've got deep beds that we're putting in.
Nice.
And so, people could, obviously we can unlock our gardens, but bigger projects is really what I was meaning, because you got a lot of these sort of community groups.
Yeah.
Scotland, in fact, is particularly good for community buyout. For a lot of things.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do with Lochhill, really. But before Lochhill, and before I bought my own bit, did try various different landowners in this area to sort of look at, like, could we get a few 5 acres or 10 acres for a community farm, and there are more and more projects happening like that. So again, drawing on my experience at Glasgow, tried for so many years to sort of increase urban agriculture in and around the city, and Glasgow City Council have the site out at Daldowie, which is like they used to grow all the bedding plants for all the ornamental beds around the city, so it was like loads of glass houses and polytunnels and loads of outdoor space, and it's like right next to the M74 heading south, right next to a crematorium, and we asked them if we could have it as a big like community farm, and they said no, and it's like so many years of asking them and so many years of them saying no, it's like flogging a dead horse. And then people who were doing similar work to me in Edinburgh asked Edinburgh City Council the same question for a similar site. So they were just like, oh, there you go. So that's Lauriston Agroecology Farm, which is absolutely amazing. I went there for the first time quite recently. And I think they've got like up to about 20 acres on field scale production, and about sort of 10 polytunnels there now. But so I think it's just like asking the right person at the right time. Now, Dumfries and Galloway Council don't have farms that they can just be giving away, unfortunately.
And there's the lot of Cargan Towers where you've basically got some big polytunnels where the bedding plants are actually grown.
Yeah.
But apart from that, that's I mean, you're talking about less than an acre for that.
Yeah.
And it's right behind Cargan Towers, and it's really near the ICI.
It's not pretty, is it?
No, it's not.
They sold off the ones at the Crichton, didn't they?
Yeah, and there's loads of space at the Crichton which could be used for growing, and glass houses down the bottom there that are used by the veterans garden. But I think I have talked to the folk at the Crichton Trust about this, and I think they are worried about quite a lot of pushback from the community, basically, who'd like to walk their dogs on it and that kind of thing. So Lochhill Farm has kind of come about really because Richard and Jane, who own Lochhill Farm, they're both, well, he's over 80, she's approaching 80, but they're really good folks, and they've been part of the regenerative farming network, the sort of learning and knowledge sharing network of farmers that I coordinate since 2021. So they were early members, and they're also members of the Nature Friendly Farming Network, and they're also members of Land Workers Alliance. So they're like good people who've been farming in the right way, but they recognised that they were getting on a bit in years, and they weren't able to do all the hard graft that they used to do. So we started talking, and they kind of approached me to say, like, how could they make it more of a sort of like community project. And that was, as I mentioned earlier, the Good Food and the Glenkens scoping study. One of the outcomes of that was like, we need a community farm. So we had a fallow year on the farm. We took all livestock off for that year, and we used that year. That was in, what year are we in now? 2026. That was 2024, and we used that year to do lots of like baseline auditing. So we did biodiversity surveys, we did soil sampling. We did bird counts and loads of like, right, where are we right now with the farm? And also some thinking and some brainstorming and getting in other people to sort of help us think through some ideas of what can we actually do with this space. So we came out of that with 3 like broad overarching outcomes to maximise ecological diversity, to be a space for resilient rural livelihoods, and to be a space for education and learning. And we knew that we wanted to bring cows back onto the land, but we wanted a hardy milking herd. So Shetland cattle are really good, they're dual purpose. They make a good beef animal, but they're also really milky. They have a high butter fat content in their milk, and a bit like Dexter's, they're one of the original native dual purpose breeds. So we started building up the Shetland herds. We've now got 15 cattle there, head of cattle. So we're calving in a few weeks' time, and just got funding from South of Scotland Enterprise for all the dairy kits. So that's like, we'll be making yoghurt by hopefully June, July. And then we had a little bit of funding again from third sector, the Priest in Galloway, for capital to set up the market garden. So that's enabled Emily to come in, and she is basically, she's organised a big deer fence around the 3 acres, so 1 hectare. She's getting a polytunnel set up, and she'll be growing more veg there. And then the sort of education learning workshop program. So we're kind of like really trying to bring people in. We've had University of Glasgow students there from the Dumfries campus. We've had volunteer days. We've had lots of different courses and workshops. We want to create opportunities for people to come in and engage with the land and learn about nature-friendly and agroecological production. So it's kind of like watch this space thing for that. But that's, I guess, it's kind of like a one-off. It's really hard to sort of unlock.
It's about having enough people together with enough drive, really, isn't it?
And a landowner who's
up for it.
A landowner who's up for it, basically. And I think that the long-term plan with Lochhill is that the legal structure that we have as a community interest company, so we're building up a membership base. We haven't launched the membership scheme yet, but this is the plan, to potentially use that as a vehicle to raise the funds to buy the farm in the future. But it's really, I mean, you need that grassroots drive, and that's really, I guess, what I'm all about is community-led, build it from the ground up, be the change that we want to see in the world, and all that kind of stuff.
More resilient that way.
But we do also need top-down. We need the policy and the strategy that supports that as well. So you've got land reform. it's not as good as it could be, and community asset transfers and community buyouts, and like, okay, the legislation is there, it's coming together, but it's still not, it hasn't really got teeth.
Yeah, you know? That's one of the things I think, just with that legislation, obviously when it was first being put together, it was being done whilst the Greens were in government.
Yes.
And as soon as the Greens weren't in government, then the focus shifted a bit, and it's been watered down. Massively watered down. But at the same time, you can almost think as well as it's kind of a step along the way, and you just push for more.
You just keep going.
Yeah, you just keep going.
And that's why you keep needing that grassroots like community drive. You know. I was just thinking about the project over at what's it called, Langham, the Duke of Buccleuch who sold like a lot of land to the community there, but he still made them raise loads of money to buy it. He didn't just hand it over.
No. Well, I mean, the Duke of Buccleuch is generally known for giving away things for free apart from paintings.
Exactly. So there's so much potential, I think, for for collective working and community land ownership, but you do need a team of people who are up for working together and working quite hard to make that happen. And a willing landowners who are up for kind of cooperating, who are part of that team.
So you have a few little jigsaw pieces to put together then. Really.
It's thinking differently, isn't it? It's like thinking outside the box, and we're quite used to conventional land ownership kind of models.
Your gran tried to change things a bit, didn't she?
So Drumrash was my family farm.
Oh right, was it?
My gran and my mum basically, and my dad, basically one of the first soil association
cool. Organic certified.
One of the first soil association certified farms in Scotland.
Brilliant.
My gran was an early editor of the Soil Association magazine.
Awesome.
And basically, they would. It was all going well. We started building, and just taking out a loan, and then my grandmother passed away, and then basically things happened. It wasn't the most popular concept in the region,
right?
Because it was a few years ago.
It was 40 plus years ago. And essentially we lost the farm so the family's been involved in kind of the things like the Soil Association and the battle to try and change minds and perceptions.
Brilliant.
And going from where we were 40, what was that article?
You were like 2 in that picture.
So 44 years ago. The mindset has changed so much in that time that it's now, if you're not doing organic, you're the one that's kind of looked at weirdly. Whereas back then, it's definitely heading that way. There's been a lot of change, a lot of positive change. You know, it's kind of I'm a glass half full kind of person. I always have been, and I can reflect back on working in organic market gardens in Wales, in West Wales in the 90s. And definitely being a weird tree hugging hippie, and like, you know, we would my penny dropping food systems broken moment was we were buying in some additional stuff for our box scheme, and Lampeter in West Wales has got a big organic food veg distribution hub, and we used to go there on a weekly basis. I only ever really went on a couple of runs, but we were sitting in the van waiting. One of these massive trucks like bringing the veg in and out around us, and we were waiting for lettuces to arrive from Israel, and I was just like, something is wrong here. But going back on to reflecting on that and where we are now with kind of how mainstream really organic food is, or eating healthily, and people are having much more awareness of where their food comes from, and farmers adopting much more nature-friendly practices, and being aware of, as I said earlier, the changing climate and how that's affecting farming practices. We haven't come far enough, but there's been some really positive changes in the right direction. And it's one of those credit where credit's due. Like, we're hard on ourselves around here for not being far enough, whereas we're way ahead of a lot of other places in the world.
I would say.
So you think about food in the US
Yeah.
and the state of it in the US, and actually the opposition in the UK to the very idea of bringing anything like that over here. You know, when there's any sort of like talk about a US trade deal, everybody goes, chlorinated.
Yeah, that's the example that's used, but their farming systems generally are
round up on everything.
So that would have been, John Rash would have been the same time as the McConnells went organic as well. So that's Barnbarrack Organic down on the markets. So Kylie sells her beef on the Food Hub, but they were one of the very first organic certified, Soil Association certified farms in Scotland as well. So that would have been, but I guess the distance is a bit, because you need your family, a sort of, a tribe around you for that, don't you? Like David Finlay at Ethical Dairy talks about how hard it's been, their journey for transitioning to organic, but then also obviously the cow with calf kind of system as well, and how he felt that he basically had ostracized himself from his peer group when he stuck his neck out and made those changes on the farm. And now through things like the Regen Farm Network and the community of farmers that we've created here in the southwest, who are supporting each other to do more nature-friendly stuff, and he feels like he's got his community back again, albeit they're quite different people. But
you've got like-minded people when it comes to the farming practices, and that support's actually invaluable because. Yeah,
it makes it more normal as well. It normalises.
That's really just not good.
What we try to do with the farm cluster stuff is just normalise it.
Yeah,
it's like this is. If it works for Irene and it works for John down at Gatehouse, then it's probably going to work for Tim at Twynham. And it's kind of how to normalise things. You just watch other people doing it.
There is some other things in the area that's a shame we've lost. Like, I remember we used to get our milk directly from Trelane when Trelane was a dairy farm.
Last dairy farm in the area, I think, wasn't it? Apart from Cubbock's.
And we'd basically go up there and get our milk twice a week. But then they decided that all milk must be pasteurised before it can go back into. And it's kind of right. So we're basically going a mile to get our milk, and now the milk's got to travel all the way to. Probably Lockerbie. I'm not even sure where their milk was going at the time. And then probably off to some supermarket distribution place, and then back into the area, and then we've got to go to the supermarket or have it delivered by the supermarket, and it's like 2 mile round trip. You could walk it.
That's it. I mean,
so we are trying to remedy that with the Lochhill will have we've got a pasteuriser. We've bought the pasteuriser, so we'll be able to sell pasteurised milk directly from the farm. And the pasteuriser is also a yogurt maker, so we'll be able to sell yogurt directly from the farm as well.
To get that on the Galloway
and then you've got
Food
Tor Organic Dairy, which is like Ross and Lee Payton, or Callum has taken over the farm now, down at Auchencairn, and you can get their refill machine milk at Earth's Crust and the Glenkens Community Store, but you can also buy his bottles. So most of their milk as part of an organic herd, formerly known as OMSCO, organic milk contracts, but they have a little, Ross can turn on the tap at milking time basically and divert milk into the 50 litre pasteuriser, and then hence into the bottling machine from there. So, but small scale, and it's nowhere near what it should be. Well, I looked at Trelane actually, that was my first kind of this could be a community farm, this could be it, when it was on the market a few years, was it 4 years ago?
Something. Was it just after COVID Kevin sold up?
Yeah. I think,
we're kind of how do we raise £1 million? You don't. You don't raise £1 million. But I did sort of try to put some feelers out to see if it could be done and become a community farm and bring the dairy back as well. That was part of the thinking behind it.
If you bring the dairy back, maybe bring that. No, it doesn't matter.
Because there isn't any dairy this far up. There's a bit round Cross Michael, but that's kind of it. There's no dairy. There's no dairy further from Cross Michael. And then the other place was Mains of Greenlaw, which is down by Greenlaw. So Andy is. He's growing veg there as well. They've got the wee trailer, and they sell their veg on the Food Hub as well. But that's the only arable field in that area. So he's producing a lot of straw and barley straw as well. But his dad, I've forgotten his dad's name now, but he was a right mover and shaker in the dairy industry, and he was also, I think, the first to install a kind of just a milking parlour, I think it's just.
Right.
I'm forgetting that maybe a little bit wrong, but he was he was. I think he was the first to install a parlour in that area. He was quite like forward thinking. So we've had loads of innovation happen in this area for a really long time.
We talk about Irene. I remember her family had they've still got the farm, but they used to have the goats that they milked, and then
her mum was massively into it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
So she still does the dairy herself Yeah. And then the goat meats has only so it had its first run on the food hub 2 weeks ago, and it's on now. Right. It's very nice. It's got goat shank. Yeah. It was really good. Are you vegetarian?
I'm vegetarian. That's why I'm squirming. Talk to me about vegetables.
Yeah, but the goat meat, it's really nice. Oh my God. I couldn't believe how nice it was. We did it like over 4 hours in the oven. It's
tough,
really slow. What?
Is it not quite tough?
No, it's just like
I suppose if you slow cooked it.
Sorry, I know you're vegetarian, but it was just like butter. It was so nice.
It's kind of like if you eat an old one, it'll be tough, but it's just like with anything. It's
slow roast.
Slow
roast in the oven. Treat like venison. Apparently, that's the thing with goats. It's more like venison than lamb.
Actually, just reminded me. I totally forgot. I could have mentioned this or put a question. When I was a child, I grew up in Strathblane for a wee while on a very small farm which had goats in a market garden. The lady she inherited, I think, maybe about a 10-acre house and garden, 10 acres from her parents, and decided she was just going to go organic market garden, the whole thing, with the goats. So I grew up with goats. I knew how to milk a goat from a very young age.
Strathblane, north of Glasgow?
Yeah, Strathblane, north of Glasgow.
It wasn't Echo Mackenzie.
It was Echo Mackenzie!
So that sounds like it's probably Echo Mackenzie.
Yeah, it was Echo Mackenzie. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, she wouldn't let men work with the goats.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, because when I was
my ex-partner worked up there for a bit, and she wouldn't let any men near the goats.
Because when I was there, when I was living there was a vet student actually staying.
Right.
Yeah, he was just having digs there, sort of thing. Yeah. And one of the young goats, she got out of her pen and she had a rampage around in some rhododendron.
Did she eat some of it?
She ate it.
Oh no.
She ate quite a lot of it, and she was very sick.
Was she alright? Did she live?
She did live. He sat up all night with her, nursing her, wrapping her up in hot blankets, everything just to kind of like help her, well, basically bring it all up and get rid of it. So she did survive, but it's a guy.
Yeah, it was a guy, right?
Just saying.
Well, but my partner worked up there. That was she was. I mean, if anyone has been an innovation, and just did it anyway, despite everyone thinking she was completely mental. And she actually is a bit mental, but that aside, she's really sort of like a trailblazer in that respect, in sort of peri-urban agriculture. I don't know what she's doing now, because she must be getting on a bit.
Oh, she must be. I mean, I remember I had my own pet chicken when we lived there. It was a bantam. She used to actually come into the kitchen to see if I'd come home from school, so I must have fed her lots of stuff. She must have liked me for some reason, but yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us about Propagate? What it's about, and you were involved with the founding as well?
Yeah. Propagate is it's kind of the umbrella that covers all the things that we've been talking about, really. Yeah. So we're almost 10 years old. Yeah. Propagate is a worker-led collective. So we use a governance framework called sociocracy. Are you familiar with that at all? So basically, like cooperatives use sociocracy. So it's we don't have any managers. We are all equal, and we all play an equal role in the management of the organisation. So I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But back in 2016, I was living on a cooperative farm just outside Glasgow, near Colburn, Lesmahago, that kind of area. So running the market gardens there and looking after the land, planting lots of trees and looking after the meadows and stuff. But I was working in Glasgow at that point, so I was doing kind of community gardening, community food justice work, work that tackles food poverty and food inequalities. And I had been for many years, about 7 years, I ran an organisation called Urban Roots. So I was kind of employed. I was employed by the Concrete Garden, lots of community food, community gardening organisations in Glasgow. And then, I kind of wanted to go freelance, basically, in a nutshell. And a lot more flexibility in being freelance and doing your own thing and having your own portfolio of stuff to do. It's much more how I'm used to working. And so I got together with a few other people who were freelancers in Glasgow, doing similar kind of work. And Propagate was kind of born as a way for us to have a collective front, I suppose. So we could pitch for projects with the council, with housing associations. We could apply for funding that we couldn't necessarily do on our own. We could share resources, share educational materials, share projects if we needed to, so you can have a bit of time off. Like somebody else can cover your work for a week. That kind of thing. So we, three of us came together and set that up, and that came about because someone, like a random funder called the Seedbed Foundation, they don't exist any longer. They're a philanthropic fund, and you can't apply to them. They have to come to you and say, do you want £5,000 and what would you do with it? And they did that to me. And they sort of said, give us a one pager. What would you do with £5,000? And that's what I wrote back. It was like, we'll form this cooperative alliance called Propagate. Born in Glasgow, based initially in Glasgow, and we worked on lots of different projects, from community gardening to healthy cooking skills to scoping reports looking at local food resilience in Postle, and various other things, Bella Houston Park, lots of different projects that were all food related, right? And then I moved down here in 2020, as I said. So I kind of said to by that point, there were like about 7 or 8 propagators. We don't really have job titles, we're just called propagators. 7 or 8 propagators working on various different projects in the city. And I said, I'm moving to Galloway. Like, how do you all feel about me taking Propagate to Galloway? And then, moving down here, finding other people who were interested in the same sorts of things. So, propagation it's not just a gardening term. I mean, it's like, you propagate strawberries and you propagate, blackcurrant cuttings and that kind of thing. But it also means the sharing and dissemination of ideas and projects. So we literally propagate projects. By finding more people down here, we've managed to propagate lots of different things. So we've been working. So my colleagues, my co-propagators in Dumfries and Galloway, do things like setting up community composting sites. So there's been 3 pilots happen over the last year, one in Moneyhive, one in Gatehouse, and one in Whithorn, with big in-vessel composters for composting everything. So cooked food waste can go into there as well. So that's like community cafes and schools that are using them and making great composts going into their community garden spaces. Dennis and Dawn, they run the coordinators for the D&G Community Food Network. So that's connecting up all those different community food projects, like community gardens and stuff like that. And through peer support, helping to grow capacity and to grow community empowerment, that kind of thing. My coordination role of the Dumfries and Galloway Sustainable Food Partnership, which is that cross-sector, multi-stakeholder approach to co-creating better food systems.
I've said that too many times.
Few times, yes. That sits under Propagate. Lochhill Agroecological Farm was originally a Propagate project. Now it's its own community interest company, as was Galloway Food Hub. And then that also grew enough to fledge and spread its wings. We've also got projects in various parts of Ayrshire, in Wishaw, in Neilston, in Lochwinnoch. So there are now like about 20 of us in Propagate, working across different parts of Scotland, Stirlingshire as well, up there. So and the Regenerative Farming Network is also a Propagate project. Basically everything I've been talking about is a Propagate project, or was previously. Our core aim really is to work in a collaborative and cooperative way to tackle the climate and nature emergencies through sustainable food. and farming.
It's not a bad idea. It's just kind of like a core thing, really, isn't it? In tackling climate change.
Yeah, and ultimately we want to see a food system that is fair to producers and consumers and healthy for people and planet.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's too much to ask.
No,
so all our projects are geared around that. We're a community interest company. But yeah, and like I said, we use a framework called sociocracy, which is something that a lot of cooperatives use. It was invented, I think, in an electronics factory in Germany, as a way for workers to basically run the electronics factory as a collective. And the idea is that you split into sort of delegated circles, I suppose a bit like working groups, but they have delegated powers. So you have like a general circle, which has representatives from each of these other circles that take responsibility for different parts of running the organisation. So we have a finance circle, a comms circle, and a people care circle, which is basically HR, but we call it people care because it's nice.
I don't like the term human resources.
Human resources.
People
People care. It's a permaculture. It's a permaculture thing. So we've got a development circle and a justice circle. So each of those have got different delegated powers. And I'm not part of justice, but they're the coolest because they do the justice. So it's kind of looking internally at how we are basically what are we doing internally that is fair and just, and looking at things like equality and diversity and equity and inclusion. Making sure that we are reflecting that within our own organisation, but then also how we're responding to global events. So if you look at Propagate socials, I don't do the socials, my colleague Susan does the socials, she's based in Glasgow. But in amongst all the sort of farming and food stuff, you'll also see stuff about Palestine in there. And you'll also see stuff about, how we're responding to global events. So there's sort of Black Lives Matter stuff previously and things like that. So we will put out statements and say what we think, which is basically be nice to each other, please, everybody. Thank you. But also within the context of food, so using famine as a way to oppress people, and starving Palestinians is not very nice, is it?
No, it's a long way from nice. So that's Propagate. It's the way that it's the main way that I do my work.
Fascinating.
And we're all really cool.
That is actually really fascinating.
Each of the projects is like, it has a little project group, so no one's working on their own. You've got other people that you can like bounce off. So my farming stuff, I work with Katrina and Sarah and Lucy. So Lucy's based in the Maccas. She does a lot of the comms work for the Regenerative Farming Network. But Katrina and Sarah are both sort of Glasgow and peri-urban Glasgow, so they're sort of working in that central belt kind of area. But we work as a team on farming stuff. And the same for every other project. There's a wee group, so they've got each other, as well as everybody else in the wider network. But then we also have, I said, support and supervision, but actually it's a buddying and mentoring. So it's a sort of buddy circle. So each of us basically has somebody that we can go to when we just need to vent. Essentially.
That is a very important part, because we don't take care of that kind of thing very well in any of our structures. There are people that when I'm at work I can turn to vent, but you learn that you don't have that as part of the structure.
So this is it.
So it comes, and you do need to do that. It's an important
so it's a different way of working. And it can be difficult for funders to get their head around that. Actually, we don't have a chair. Or a secretary or a treasurer.
They want you to have some sort of quorum and things like that to be able to
We use consensus decision making. What's that? It's where you all agree, and it can take a while to make a decision, right? Because somebody needs to bring a proposal to the table, and you have to share that proposal. You've got a big change coming. Okay, I have to share that a few weeks ahead, and everyone's got a chance to read it and comment on it. So we changed our aims and objectives in the articles recently, and it's basically taken all year to do that. Justice Circle came up with the proposal, and then we've just gone over and over and over it, fine-tuning, basically wordsmithing. I mean, it got a bit anal after a while, but it was necessary because it had to reflect who we were as an organisation. So
that is the thing about collective decision making. It does take a little bit longer, but then you have a firmer, stronger position.
It means that everybody who's involved is happy with it. It's not, you're not being told what to do. You've been part of making that happen.
Yeah. It's definitely a more positive way. I mean, actually, when we moved down here because I went to Galloway when it was still open, and sort of obviously, like so many other schools, do not run like Galloway ran, for lots of reasons. Ian always tells me, my partner always says to me, "Oh, that was the school where you got to swear at teachers." That's what happened at Calamity. But the thing that really, because he was
my granny taught at Summerhill.
So
and Calamity was based on Summerhill.
Yeah, it was. But the thing about it was the weekly meeting. Yeah. Which was a really important part of how the school worked. Yeah. And in that meeting, because it was in a round building, nobody was at the head of the table. Yeah. There would be a meeting chair, but that would change every time. Yeah. So every week it would be somebody else. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, actually, because the way chores were split at Kilwanity, you could actually put in to be, if you were old enough, a chairperson in the meeting, and you got paid.
Oh, wow.
Just a small amount. Yeah. All the
That's an incentive, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an incentive. It was a really interesting way of running a school, but the important part was the way that you could together make decisions about things like people who were being difficult. You'd all get together, and because you were in that round, it was much easier to actually just talk rather than having anyone sort of talking down to you.
Exactly.
But we did actually swear at the teachers as well.
There's a few of them that got confused when they came to Dalry and Kilwanity was shut, and then got in trouble for it.
Oh,
yeah.
When did Kilwanity close? What year was that?
It closed in the 90s, late 90s. I was there in the early 90s.
Okay.
Or no, late 80s. I was there in the late 80s.
It was the early 90s it shut.
It was the early 90s it shut. I was trying not to be as old as I am there.
So were you in Adam Booth's year? Was he older than you?
No, I don't think I even. No. Who?
He runs the big architects firm outside.
We were.
CD, but
there's loads of different people that are in the area that are still about. It was 88, as a matter of fact. 88 when I was there. I was there for a year. And then I wanted to be a vet. It was my thing when I was a kid. I really, really wanted to be a vet. And of course, there's no science teaching at Kilwanity. So I ended up going to Dalry instead. Where I was an excellent science teacher. But then I also discovered that you were supposed to have all three sciences. And there's no way that you ever get that offered all at once in a small rural school, which wasn't really very helpful.
So you went to CD?
Oh, no, I didn't.
No. You just dropped being a vet.
I just dropped, as you can see.
As you can see,
You discovered the 7 years of university.
Yeah. That maybe would have been part of it, but I also discovered at the age of about 16, 17, being a party animal. Yeah. So we'll just leave that there.
I actually took care of us at Dalry at that time. I went to the academy.
Yeah.
And I actually tried to do the crash course of biology for my 1 month sick leave that I did before I left to go to university. And it was just like,
it's such a shame though.
I had actually put in to do biology and physics, and I hadn't done biology standard grade, but for whatever reason they didn't pick up on that, so I sat through the first class of biology higher at the Kirby Academy, and then they went, "But you don't have standard grade biology." And I was like, "No." "Oh, no, you can't do that. That was in 5th year. You have to wait till next year." And I didn't actually stay for 6th year. I decided I was going off to do media studies at college in Dumfries instead. Okay. So,
Anyway, we're kind of off topic.
That's what happens.
That's fine.
That's one of the interesting things.
So we've already mentioned the Soil Association. Obviously, I've got the family connections there. There's another one which that I've heard of prior to today, and the ones we've sort of touched on, which is the Biodynamics Association, which is the ones that do the lunar calendar stuff.
I tried that once. I was too busy to keep up with it because it's like, shit, I've missed the parsnips.
And you mentioned a couple, which off the top of my head I can't remember, but is there any associations out there that you, and obviously Propagate itself, is there any other associations out there that you think people should be aware of? And
100%.
You mentioned.
Yeah. So we are part of a collective or a partnership called the Scottish Agroecology Partnership. So through that, we work really closely with Soil Association Scotland, but also with Nature Friendly Farming Network, Pasture for Life, Land Workers Alliance, if I can remember everybody, the Scottish Crofting Federation, Nourish Scotland, and I feel like I've missed somebody. I guess, anyway, but there's a whole bunch of us, and we work really closely together. So all of us have farmers, a group like a membership of farmers, and so we represent the farmer's voice that is different to NFUS. But I mean, like, just to be clear, also work really closely with NFUS, and through through the biosphere, Galloway and Southern Ayrshire Biosphere, we organise a conference in southwest Scotland. We've held it in Ayrshire twice, once in Newton Stewart, and we'll be holding it in November in Dumfries. It's basically called farming for nature, or farming for the future, planning for profit in nature. That's what we've called it. So yeah, I definitely worked really closely with NFUS as well, but as a grouping of organisations with membership of farmers who are more interested in more nature friendly, agroecological and organic kind of approaches, we are working collaboratively to engage with policy. To represent those farmers' voices at policy kind of level, to be an alternative voice to the kind of industrial lobby, basically. Yeah. So yeah, all of those are really worth checking out, and the website for that is agroecology.scot.
Below in the description as well.
On the link. Yes. So we're also members through Propagate of another coalition called the Fruit and Veg, UK Fruit and Veg Coalition. So that's, you'll like this one, Angela, because it's just about vegetables. Obviously Pasture for Life is about meat, but Fruit and Veg Coalition is about how do we get more fruit and veg being produced across the region, across the country.
And we're getting the trains back, because that's the thing. Actually.
Well, I wonder. I don't know.
No, they're having a big meeting in Dumfries. Yes, on
people are actually talking about it.
People are actually talking about it. Laura Moody, the Green candidate, and I think it might be the Labour candidate, and Swiss Trans are holding this big public meeting in Dumfries, and they're talking about reopening the railway line. And there's a strategy and everything.
Okay, that's an alternative to like turning the A75 into a motorway.
Yeah, because that's a bad idea. We don't need more cars, we need more trains.
We need more trains.
Although I still would not object to bypassing Crocketford and Springham.
I can see the point. I wouldn't want to live.
I
wouldn't want to live in Springham, especially.
Yes,
actually.
exactly.
I think.
For the people that live there, a bypass is the thing. I think that we should get as much off the A75 as we can.
Just off the roads in general would be ideal. But there is. You need a good, diverse opportunities and options. Of ways to do things, because sometimes you just can't use the trains. Sometimes
you've got
and the trucks are the biggest issue, aren't they? And it's kind of been quite hard to get the freight, because a lot of those trucks that are coming in through Ken Ryan have basically come from mainland Europe, right? Because that's the soft border between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. So that's the Brexit route in, without it being too much of a faff. So we've seen so much additional truck traffic on the A75 since Brexit. So it's hard to see what you could do with them, with the freight otherwise.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, though,
put it on a freight train, but then what?
The rail actually used to go all the way to Cairnryan.
Yes.
That's where the railway passengers used to get on and off, and it's also, obviously, it was because it was for the Second World War, as a matter of fact. It was the military line there. But that meant that when you were shipping stuff in,
straight onto the train.
Straight onto the cargo train, across the region. And then obviously there's various places where you would something about move it elsewhere, like in Dumfries, obviously, because it was a bit of a hub that way.
Yeah.
And that would surely
Guess it is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah, it's just be interesting to see which routes to go and choose, and because obviously there's hedges on some of the sections at the moment. So,
it couldn't just follow the same route, could it?
No, exactly. No.
And that, the
actually, the A75 is along quite a bit of the Kukubri one as well, so that'd be interesting. To, the Kukubri branch line.
The wee bridge over Lochhill. That's close to collapse as it is, that bridge.
The Boater Road.
Then
you've got the bridge that has collapsed down at is it U Island, just down at Threave.
Oh, okay.
And then you've also got the
was that a train bridge as well?
Yeah.
Small, the wee Gatehouse of Fleet viaduct as well, which was actually blown up. It was blown up by the military in an exercise. Yeah. But then you see what was done to the aqueduct, the viaduct across the Dee at Kirkcudbright as well. That was literally in 1965. They took that apart because they didn't want the rails to be back, I guess. So it's kind of
So that route down by 3 from CD is the old railway line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if you actually go down to Lamb Island, you can see, because your first bridge is fine, but then there's another one just the other side. It's kind of shrouded by trees now, but you can just see the pillars across.
Okay, yeah.
You can sort of follow the line down, and then obviously down to there's the bridge that goes over the Dundrop Road, as I call it. I don't actually know the number of the road or anything.
Yeah.
And the one goes from Glenlochhill down to the A75.
Yeah.
You can see the remains of the old bridge over there as well. And so a lot of the line is still kind of traceable.
Yeah.
But there's just certain obstructions along the way that complicate matters.
Yeah, definitely.
Houses and farms and all sorts.
That was a digression, sorry about that. As a market gardener, actually I think I met you very first up at the Walled Garden at the Garrick Estate.
Oh right, apple pressing.
The apple pressings.
Pressing day, one of the Glenkens Food Month.
Yeah, that's it.
Events.
And that actually leads me on to talking about Ling and the fact that they manage the Walled Garden. What other initiatives like that are there across Galloway? Because that's the one that I know.
Like community gardens.
Yeah, community gardens.
So I've mentioned a few, I think, when I've been chatting about that's what the Propagate does. In connecting up projects like that. So that's what the Dumfries and Galloway Community Food Network is all about. So that again, there's another map. There's a Google map you can look at, and it's got all those different projects kind of layered, so that you've got community growing, you've got community cafes, like pantries and community larders and that kind of thing. So there's a wee community garden in New Galloway, just off the park. That's kind of been coming together over the last couple of years. And I think there's any others in this area. Balmaclan Village Hall's got a nice garden, but it's not so much a community food
garden. I suppose we're starting to do things with the library garden as well.
We are, yes, that's true.
Just across Galloway in general.
So it's just thinking of the map in my head, but so in Dumfries you've got Summerhill, which is a community centre in that area, and then Lochsides. There's a really kind of lifts, they're called local Lochsides Inclusion Families Together, I think it stands for. I hate acronyms.
That's
to say.
Acronym rather than an acronym.
Yeah.
Lochside, anyway, they've got a really good new community garden that they've been working on around there. There's quite a few in Dumfries. There's also the Apache Land growing space as well, and there's a group in Dumfries called Incredible Edible Dumfries, and there's also Incredible Edible Stranraer, and there's also Incredible Edible Whitwell. So that's kind of part of the Incredible Edible franchise kind of family. So that's a project that started in Todmorden like 20 or 30 years ago, which like most community growing projects is about getting visible food growing everywhere.
Well, that's it. You walk around Dumfries, you can see the little deep beds, raised beds, in loads of places.
Exactly. So and we are going to get a wee garden going here. Like there's a garden at the back of this building, so we're now that the work's been done. I'm on the board for this place as well. So now the work's been done on here, we'll start like turning our attention to the outside space because it was hard to do with the scaffolding and building.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, there's a growing space, a community growing space in Monnive, in Gatehouse, the Thornhill Old School has got a really good one. I'm going to try and work my way across the region, by the way. Not sure about like further up Sanker and stuff, but I imagine there's some sort of, they definitely got food projects there, but I'm not sure about growing projects. Thornhill Old School have got really good like polytunnel and raised beds there as well. And then down to Kukubury or Gatewell's Castle Douglas, you've got the rugby club. So if you drive down the 713 and you look left and you just look at the glance past the rugby club and you'll see a polytunnel and a shed and a few other structures, and that's a little community garden there. I don't think there is one actually in CD.
No, I don't think so.
We tried getting one going at in partnership with Better Lives Partnership at the community centre on Cotton Street, but it didn't. It was hard to engage them. Like they asked us to come and help them get it going, but they didn't really keep it going afterwards. It's a bit of a shame. Kukubury's got a few. So there's the grounds of a care home, which Eco Art, which is a wee sort of environmental arts group, have been running just on the edge of Kukubury, as well as a community orchard there as well, I think. And is there one in Newton Stewart? Not yet, I don't think. And apologies if there is, and I've missed it, Newton Stewart people. Loads in Stranraer, loads around Whithorn. Yeah, there's basically loads of projects all across the region.
Check it out on the Google Maps.
Yeah, so the D&G Community Food Network. So you could probably just look for that on Google Maps, but we have a website for that, obviously, and there's a link to the map on there. And we've also been sort of creating case studies, I suppose you call them, but we call them good food stories. So if you could look on the Sustainable Food Partnership website, if you just Google Dumfries and Galloway good food stories, and it's under 3 different categories. There's one for community food projects, one for food businesses, and one for farming. It's basically a 2-pager, and it's just a sort of casual interview with somebody that's involved in that project. Like, how did this get started? What are your aims and objectives? What would you like to see more of in Dumfries and Galloway? That kind of thing. So it's under nice pictures as well. So yeah, check that out.
What kind of places would you recommend in Galloway to people who are outside Galloway? I know we've talked about your favourite Galloway places, but I'm talking about places to go.
Places to grow. Places to grow. Are we still talking about growing vegetables?
No, I'm too hungry for that.
You had your lunch first, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you not had your lunch before you got here.
He came to my house and he said, I was supposed to have soup before I came out. And he hadn't had it. So I was busy just eating a bit of junk food before I came out.
I was busy writing another section for later recording.
Places to go, like in what context?
What context? Yeah. If you're visiting and you wanted to see Galloway, what reflects Galloway to you?
For me, it's very much the places that we talked about. It's those outdoor spaces. Stay outside. But I don't know. I mean, like I'm just thinking about my mum. My mum's come up, and Bruce's mum came up as well, and we took them to the Threave Gardens.
Yes.
Obviously.
Still outside.
It's still outside, but it's like a nice formal garden. And actually, for the first and probably only time ever, we went up the in Dumfries Museum, up the whatchamacallit. What's it called again? Camera Obscura. That was absolutely amazing. Have you done that?
I haven't done it in Dumfries. I've done it in Edinburgh.
Right, but it's.
Oh, I have done it in Dumfries. What am I talking about? Yes, I've done it in Dumfries as well.
It was really amazing, and it's not the sort of thing you would ever do just yourself. Like it's just like, oh, I've got a visitor here. What should we do? We'll go and do something like this. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. And it wasn't just the camera obscura itself and how clear the image is, and it pans around the whole city, so you can see everything. But the guy that was doing the tour of taking us through all the sort of images that we were looking at, he was so funny. Yeah, he was hilarious. It was worth going just for him. Yeah, just for him. Oh, excellent. And I guess at the other end of the spectrum, I've only been there once because the festival's so far away, but Mull of Galloway Lighthouse. Yes. Yeah. Again, we're talking about outdoor spaces, but it was. I went down for my birthday last year and just got a little self-catering flat in Drummore for like a few nights, and we were the first people up the lighthouse on the day that it opened for the season. Nice. Very nice. And again, it was like, that was really good. I love a lighthouse, and I love wild spaces and being blown off the cliffs, or like not blown off them ideally, but anyway, blown about on cliffs. But the guy who was up there to tell us all about it, he really wants to tell us all about it. Oh, that's good. For a really long time. Yeah. I had the guy downstairs on the radio going, "You finished? Because we've got other people who want to come up." It's 2 more minutes. It's just like, it's fine. We can go. It's okay. There was definitely a
Mike news or.
But fascinating stuff.
I love the Mull of Galloway. I love that end of the region, just because you can stand there and you can look across. You've got the Isle of Man, and you've got Ireland, and you get that sense of how. I mean, it used to be, before we had roads and things like that, everybody navigated by waterways, so the links to the Isle of Man and to Ireland from there were really, really important. Yeah. And then obviously on up as well, up to the islands, up to Arran and things like that as well. Yeah. And you get a real sense.
You get a sense of where you are in the world. But I guess it depends what you're into. You know, like a lot of people come here from mountain biking, don't they?
Seven Stains,
malarkey, and I'm not into that kind of thing at all. But you know, if you are, then it's a good place for that. And I had something else in my head there, and it's gone. Oh some friends who've moved to the area quite recently. So, but when they need some R&R, and they live here in the Glenkens, they go down to Auchincan. It's their favourite place, and it is a nice little village. They've got the little bridge, and you've got the little community gardens there in Auchincan, little community allotments, and like arguably the best village shop in the region. Arguably, obviously, some of our village shops would argue about that, but you know, it is a really good little Auchincan community store.
Bill from the shop down here would definitely argue.
He would definitely argue with that. But it is a community-run shop, and you can get a cup of tea, and they've got a kitchen out the back, and they do like fresh baking every single day, and they've also got like themed, like each evening it's a curry night, it's a fish and chips night, so you can get a takeout as well.
That's really
good. Yeah, and you can do your milk refill machine with Tor organic milk as well. So, and then from there you can walk down the Hugh Payton new boardwalk that so they've just redone the entire boardwalk. So Malcolm, who lives here in a woodland on the Corset Road, he's Malcolm Strong. He runs his own business called Strong Bridges, and he's been building wooden bridges and boardwalks for like decades. And he's got a sawmill, and my partner works with him sometimes, does sawmilling.
Just past Iron.
It's Traquain. Traquain Woods. So he's done the boardwalk there, so that's about to open. So the whole new boardwalk on the Hugh Payton path, and that takes down to Redhane Beach, which is another nice wee spot. And you've got the huts on Tor Farm. There's a wee hut and community down there as well. Again, these are all outdoor spaces, but I don't like being indoors very much.
All good. No, it's wonderful place to be outside.
And there's loads of little hidden gems. Because the other bit, if you're in Auchincan, if you don't want to go down the Hugh Payton path and go to Redhane, you can go round the cliff top walk. What's it called? Valkyrie Bay.
What's the next one round from there? Mascara.
And if the tide is like really out, so it's a super low tide, you can walk across.
Yeah, to Heston Island.
Yes.
And that's really interesting. So,
Yeah, you can. Lots of my friends are around Lochhill area, and they've lots of them done that.
Yeah, it's a nice area.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I actually thought that's where we'd end up living when we moved down. But we stayed here because it's much nicer. It's nice to go visiting people, and then you can.
It's a nice short drive to the coast living here, so you can get the best of both.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last question of all. Now, this is a question we've been asking every Is there something that you've encountered living here? Something that you've seen, or something that you heard of a bit, or you've just come across, and you've just thought to yourself, what on earth is that? This thing in Galloway, why is this here? And I ask you this question because then we're asking our listeners and our viewers if they might know more. I mean, and as a good example. And there's
In the first episode, I was saying I had just been recording up at round Corridoo, and there's the old Lagan Lodge up there, and I could find no information on it, so I put it out there. So happened in our second episode, our guest Bob Peace, and that one happened to know a bit about it. So when we sort of talked a bit about it there, but it's just something in the area that you've stumbled across. You've just kind of gone, what's that about? Specifically Galloway. Is there anything?
Galloway Conundrum.
I mean, not really. But that's something I would like to see happen. Which maybe it's similar to this, I don't know. But walled gardens. So you talked about the Garrick walled garden earlier, and obviously there's a lot of hidden estates right across this region. So many little estates, and they would have all had big walled gardens, which would have produced loads of food. And I'm back on food because that's my obsession. Right? They would have all produced loads of food, not just for their big house, but all the people that live there, but also for the wider community as well. So I would love to see some sort of I guess a restoration, but it needs to be find out where are they all? Where are all the walled gardens? What are they currently being used for? Are they being used to produce food? If not, why not? Could they be being used to produce food or something? Be a community asset in some sort of way? I guess for me, that's the biggest. My conundrum is
where are all the walled gardens?
Where are all the walled gardens? And can we see them being used in the way that they used to be?
I know the
used.
One at Kenmure Castle.
So that's another one. Like an example of when I was sort of sticking my nose in places and trying to get some land to be a community farm in the area, and I had a walkabout the Kenmure Castle with Jamie Gordon, who just inherited it at the time, and he came so close to saying yes. He came so close to saying yes. Well, that's another conundrum, though. Who left that pig there all by itself?
Oh, it's such a friendly pig.
It's gone now.
Is it gone now?
I was down there for a walk recently, and the gates are open, and the pig is gone, and you can walk right in to the garden.
Oh, that's unusual, because I don't think
But whose pig was that? And who on earth would leave a lovely little Mangalisa sow all by herself?
Oh, you go there. I
Poor
remember
little thing.
standing there, looking down into the walled garden from there's that sort of terracing bit.
Yeah.
I was looking down into the garden and she saw us. And she came running across squealing. And I was standing there, I don't have any food for you.
So sad.
Sorry. She's very sweet.
Yeah. But walled gardens across the region. Where are they? What are they being used for?
That's a big question.
Can they be being used more
productively,
more broadly for local food production, and because they would have been amazing spaces.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a walled garden in Glenkens Castle that we walked past, but I think that's been used for something.
Yeah.
Glenkens Castle.
Yeah. Gelston would have had one as well. Yeah, everywhere would have had them. So a mapping, want a better word, and some sort of scoping survey. It would need some sort of history student on it or something. Where are they all and
where are they all?
or even just if people are aware, just let us know in the comments and
build it again.
and start trying to put it up.
try to map it. No, that's a fascinating thought. Yeah. Because they were obviously such an important part of how the estates ran.
Yeah.
They were the fundamental because
yeah.
you grew your delicates.
And those estates would have supported big communities at the time as well.
Yeah.
So we talk about increasing local food production, and that's it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Because the soils in there will be like pretty good, probably, and lots of like manures added over the years, and
Rory got that shelter.
Yeah.
It's there, it's in built.
Yeah. Very necessary shelter. Yeah. I planted about 2,000 trees on my land, but it'll be a few years before the shelter belts are grown up enough to actually provide any shelter. Yeah. There's a community of Hare Krishnas just outside Lesmahago, and they've built walled gardens out of breeze blocks. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it really works.
It would do, because it's definitely cute, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
The Hare Krishnas are a nice bunch of people.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'm going to have to go and get some food.
I'm just hoping the mic is
lovely
not
local
my
vegetables.
Crumbling.
Hopefully it has.
That's worry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Well, that was an extremely interesting conversation wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I have learned an awful lot.
I am starving now, though.
Yes, I'm thinking quite a lot about dinner, what I'm going to have for dinner. But that's just because we've been talking about food a lot. That was great.
I may have munched half a packet of biscuits in between as well, but much to somebody's chagrin.
Yeah, I can't eat them. But no, really good. Really glad to have spoken to Abi today. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, because and you learned as much as we have. Yeah, totally. And go and get your veggies growing.
There'll be links in the description for everything that we've been mentioning during the episode, and so.
Well, we'll see you next time. Yeah, absolutely.
Sláinte.
And cheery.
We'd like to thank the Cultural Glenkens through Catstrand with help from the National Lottery Heritage Fund for their funding and support. We'd also like to thank the Glenkens Community Shop for their funding, the Glenkens Community Centre for their use of the venue, and the Dumfries and Galloway Library Service. Music, Bonnie Gallowa, arranged by Anne Chaurand, performed by Anne Chaurand and Faith. Finally, if you'd like to support us, you can do so via Buy Me a Coffee, link will be in the description, or if you're a business local to Galloway and would like to sponsor us, please reach out to us at talkinggallowaypodcast@protonmail.com.